But she's feeling the pressure it doesn't show. A chancellor in a very tight spot, but smiling still as she faces up to a government with less money and hard choices to make. This wasn't a budget, but it felt like it.
Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves.
Red pen all over her economic plans.
Now our task is to secure Britain's future in a world that is changing before our eyes.
More money then for defence and no stepping back from her rule to fund day-to-day government spending from tax receipts, not borrowing, by the end of the decade.
I said that our fiscal rules were non-negotiable, and I meant it. I said it at the election, I said it at the budget, and I say it again today.
But since the election and budget, the economy's taken a turn for the worse. This, the hard truth.
The OBR have today revised down our growth forecast for 2025, from 2% in the autumn to 1% today. I am not satisfied with these numbers, and that is why we, on this side of the House, are serious about taking the action needed to grow our economy.
Growth down, debt repayment costs up, the Chancellor filling the black hole in her fiscal plans with a £14 billion repair job, including £4.8 billion of welfare cuts.
If we do nothing, we are writing off an entire generation. That cannot be right, and we will not stand for it. It is a waste of their potential, and it is a waste of their futures, and we will change it.
The harsh reality, 3.2 million families hit financially, losing on average around £1,700 a year.
These plans mean that welfare spending as a share of GDP will fall between 2026 and the end of the forecast period.
But the Chancellor at pains to prove her plan is working, and this rabbit of sorts had her beaming. The government's controversial planning reforms forecast to add nearly £7 billion to the economy.
The OBR have today concluded that these reforms will permanently increase the level of real GDP. That is the biggest positive growth impact that the OBR have ever reflected in their forecast.
This a Chancellor grasping at any good news.
Delivering security for our country and security for working people. And I commend this statement to the House.
A proud and pleased-looking Prime Minister, but the Tories pinning economic failure firmly on her.
This Chancellor constantly trying to blame forces beyond her control. The right response is not to duck responsibility, but to build a resilient economy. And now we are all paying the price of her broken promises. Today's numbers confirm it. We are poorer and we are weaker.
A Chancellor who raised £40 billion in taxes but 5 months ago at the budget, now coming back for more, this time in spending cuts. Is it time for you to level with people and admit that your plan hasn't protected them? And the truth is that you are going to have to come back for more tax rises or spending cuts in the budget in October.
We did have to make a number of difficult decisions on tax and welfare and on spending in the budget last year, but we have now wiped the slate clean. There's lots of speculation that I was going to change taxes today. The Tories were desperate to call this an emergency budget. It was far from it. We have found efficiencies in public spending.
So you're not coming back for more?
Well, I'm not going to write 4 years' worth of budgets. I've just delivered a spring statement today, but I think you can see through this spring statement how determined I am, how determined this government is to live within the means that we set ourselves.
But back in the House of Commons, the welfare cuts dividing the Chancellor's own benches.
Making cuts instead of taxing wealth is a political choice, and taking away the personal independence payments from so many disabled people is an especially cruel choice.
It is not right that disabled people and the most vulnerable in our society should pay for that.
This perhaps a sign of things to come as the Chancellor faces into the clamour of welfare cuts at home and a global economy packed with risk. Many noises off, and so much that could still knock her off course. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Westminster.